New General National Congress Shura Council of Mujahideen in Derna, Egypt, the Islamic State of Iraq, and the Levant is a militant Islamist group active in Libya under three branches. Fezzan Province in the west. The branches were formed on 13 November 2014. Following pledges of allegiance to ISIL leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi by militants in Libya. Following the 2011 Libyan civil war, which resulted in the ousting of Colonel Muammar Gaddafi and his government, many rebel fighters went to Syria to fight alongside militant groups who were fighting Bashar al-Assad and his loyalists in the Syrian civil war. In 2012, one group of Libyans fighting in Syria declared the establishment of the Badr Brigade. The Badr Brigade would later pledge loyalty to ISIL and fight for it in both Syria and Iraq. In early 2014, up to 300 Badr Brigade veterans returned to Libya. In Derna, they formed a new faction called the Islamic Youth Shura Council, which began recruiting militants from other local groups. Among those who joined were many members of the Derna branch of Ansar al-Sharia. During the next few months, they declared war on anyone in Derna who opposed them, killing judges, civic leaders and other opponents, including local militants who rejected their authority, such as the Al-Qaeda allied Abu Salim Martyrs Brigade. In September 2014, an ISIL delegation that had been dispatched by the group's leadership arrived in Libya. The representatives included Abu Nabil al-Anbari, a senior aide to al-Baghdadi and a veteran of the Iraq conflict, the Saudi Abu Habib al-Jazrawi, and the Yemeni or Saudi Abu al-Bara al-Azdi, a militant and preacher from Syria. On 5 October 2014, the Islamic Youth Shura Council aligned militant factions came together and pledged allegiance to ISIL. After the pledging ceremony, more than 60 pickup trucks filled with fighters cruised through the city in a victory parade. A second more formal gathering involving a larger array of factions took place on 30 October 2014, where the militants gathered to pledge allegiance to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi in the city square. On 13 November 2014, al-Baghdadi released an audio recording in which he accepted pledges of allegiance from supporters in 5 countries, including Libya, and announced the expansion of his group to those territories. He went on to announce the creation of 3 provinces and Wilaya al-Tarabulus. The 3 wilayas in Libya represent statelets. When founded, ISIL claimed a presence in Al-Baida, Benghazi, Sirte, Al-Khams, and the Libyan capital Tripoli. The Cyrenaicar branch of ISIL had around 800 fighters and half a dozen camps in Derna's outskirts. It also had larger facilities in the Jebel Akhdar area, where North African fighters were trained. In December 2014, ISIL recruiters in Turkey told their Libyan associates to stop sending fighters to Syria and to focus on domestic attacks, according to the Wall Street Journal. In the following weeks, ISIL carried out attacks against oil installations and international hotels, performed mass executions and attempted to take over further Libyan territory. The group made tactical alliances with Al-Qaeda-linked groups that did not formally pledge allegiance to it, such as the Benghazi branch of Ansar al-Sharia, members of Tunisia's Ansar al-Sharia, and Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb's Tariq ibn Ziyad Brigade. On 30 March 2015, Ansar al-Sharia's general Sharia jurist Abu Abdullah al-Libi pledged allegiance to ISIL. A number of the group's members defected with him. The city of Sirte had been loyal to Muammar Gaddafi and suffered massive damage at the conclusion of the 2011 civil war, later becoming home to militant Islamist groups like Ansar al-Sharia. ISIL formally announced their presence in Sirte in early 2015, driving a parade of vehicles through the city and declaring it part of their caliphate. Ansar al-Sharia split over how to respond, with most of their members joining ISIL. The group reportedly recruited many locals, former Gaddafi supporters alienated from the post-war political order in Libya. After they repented and pledged allegiance to al-Baghdadi, they were quickly able to take over much of the city. ISIL implemented their harsh interpretation of Sharia gradually, first focusing on building loyalty and allegiance from the tribal society of Sirte. In August 2015, Islamic codes of dress and behavior began to be enforced more strongly, and punishments like crucifixions and lashings began to be carried out. There was an uprising against ISIL in Sirte in the same month, with members of the Fayani tribe, Salafists and former members of the security forces attacking ISIL forces. ISIL brought in reinforcements from outside of Sirte and the uprising was swiftly defeated, with media reports claiming dozens or hundreds of Sirte residents were killed after the fighting. ISIL began to solidify its rule in Sirte, increasing its state-building efforts and using it as a base to expand its